and where they are today, because those big three in Japan, basically the same big three that's here in America. They just switched it, and they've switched the people's minds where they're buying Japanese products because they're better. Okay, just like they've switched, and most of the products people buy now come out of China. Just this morning on the financial news, they stated that China has inseminated $500 billion stimulus into the American economy, into the American stock market. Okay, this is a switching of the finances, again, China, through selling its products to America. They have attained and acquired many dollars, American dollars. Well, these American dollars are worthless now, almost basically worthless. So they're dumping those dollars back into America, and in so doing, they're buying property, they're buying businesses. Okay, they're transferring the assets of America to themselves over in China, in India, in Japan, okay, and various other places outside the country, Spain. They're dumping all those worthless dollars back here in America, getting rid of them out of their pocket, but at the same time acquiring assets that are here in America, the United States of America, the daughter of Babylon, okay? And eventually, when they dump all those dollars back here and acquire the properties here, then they will collapse the economic system here. Okay, and they'll introduce the Amero, and all this is more than likely going to happen on Barack Obama's watch. That's why they put him in there, to put a dark face on what they're getting ready to do. Okay, and remember, Barack Hussein Obama. Obama rhymes with Osama. Okay, just like you had Saddam Hussein, now you got Barack Hussein. Okay, all this is engineered, it's planned out. Okay, just like they sent Barack Obama here to Chicago, Illinois, 3 miles from where I'm sitting, and he came here about 22 years ago, okay? And they sent him here for a purpose, all right? All of this is engineered. His wife works for the University of Chicago here in Chicago, Illinois, or she did before she became First Lady, all right? And University of Chicago is a stronghold, Illuminati stronghold. Okay, it was financed by the Rockefellers, part of the Illuminati group. Okay, and again, getting back to these prophecies, so you can see where the cars and the trucks, the sword, yeah, I said that would be upon the cars and the trucks, the chariots. Okay, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. All right, this is 50:37, Uremia Jeremiah, commonly called Jeremiah. All right. And it's many mingled people here in America. As you know, America, everybody here is from somewhere else. Okay? And so the sword, remember who carries the sword, is the sons of Esau. This is back over in Genesis 27. He lives by his sword. And this is the sword that has come to this side of the world centuries ago and established this side of the world. All the island nations with their plantations, with their natural resources, United States of America with its natural resources, the descendants of Esau, the international bankers, then they were the British East India Company, the French East India Company, the Dutch East India Company. They came to this side of the world and set this world up. They came and got the descendants of Israel out of those 3 tribes, Lewi, Benjamin, and Yehuda, Judah, and brought us to this side of the world, okay? When we had been taken into the interior of what they call in Africa, which is really Eden, and deposited there by the descendants of Esau, as we mentioned on previous shows, back in 320 BCE, took us down into the interior of what they call in Africa and deposited us there. And eventually, when they needed manpower, because they didn't have the technology in 1442 CEAD, all right, they had to come get human beings to do the work. Okay, to plant the cotton, to plant the sugarcane, to harvest the sugarcane, to harvest the cotton, so on and so forth. That's when they came and started getting us in 1442 off the western coast of Africa and bringing us into this part of the world, into the islands, and then eventually into the United States of America, the daughter of Babylon. Okay, so it says also, and they shall become as women. And we are witnessing this with the homosexual, the gay movement, the lesbian movement. They become as women, all right? A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. That's what began with the Federal Reserve in 1913, and its collection arm, the IRS, in 1916. Okay, and this is what we witnessing to this day. The Federal Reserve is, through the Federal Reserve, they are coordinating all of this bailout, all right, which is taking the monies out of people's retirement accounts, 401ks, okay, stocks. People who have their monies, hard-earned dollars that they worked for, invested into these situations, and now they've been robbed, all right? Okay, so that prophecy, you can see 50:37, Uremia, commonly called Jeremiah, has been fulfilled. Okay, chapter 50, Uremia, verse 16, cut off the sower from Babylon and him that handles the sickle in the time of harvest. All right, they have attacked the farmers. They started doing that back in the 20s. In the early 30s, they've been attacking the farmers to basically now the farmers are basically null and nil. It's hard to find farmers who farming. You have some, but it's not as much. And most of your food now comes from outside the country. We've talked about this on previous shows, okay? So they have cut off the farmer here. You have these super farms that they control, that they produce the GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and put them out in mass to the people. Okay, all of this cloning, we're going to talk about that in a minute, real brief. Okay, and it also says in 50:16, Jeremiah, for fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his own people, and they shall flee everyone into his own land, his own country. This is a prophecy, and this is going on. They don't talk about this much, but here a week ago, 10 days ago, it was an article in the paper saying that even the Mexicans now are going back to Mexico because they can't find work here. Okay, but you have many Gentiles, Europeans, all right, Caucasians, who are leaving here. They just don't talk about it because there's no work. Okay, we have a couple articles here. You can see fewer jobs for college graduates. Okay, these are people who have spent $100,000, $150,000 to go to college to get a college degree, and now there are no jobs for them. Okay, this was just in the paper last week. All right. You have people just like American Express, 7,000 jobs. They just eliminated 7,000 jobs, American Express. Okay? We just heard this morning, and again, this is November the 10th, we just heard this morning that Circuit City has filed bankruptcy. Okay? You see this? Economy in contraction mode. We've talked about this on previous shows. They deal with expansion, contraction. During the Clinton period, they expanded. Okay? That's when they had the 1% interest, which was very detrimental to the American economy. All right? And now, here they are bringing, they brought in contraction with George Bush. And now contraction is even going even deeper. Okay? Because the dollar is basically worthless. All right, now, with that, you've had the fall of the markets. It's been falling 400-500 points almost every other day. Okay, and that's people's investments into these stocks that they don't understand, which again, as it says in Proverbs chapter 3:31, 3rd chapter, 31st verse, envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Well, these are the ways of Esau. Okay? And like it was prophesied in these prophecies, okay, it says that in Jeremiah, Uremia, 25th chapter, okay, verses 15 through 16, 15 and 16, and the 27th through the 29th verse, 27, 8, and 9, in that 25th chapter of Uremia, Jeremiah. Take the wine cup around to all the nations that they become drunken and spew and fall because of the sword, that's Esau, coming to this side of the world, setting up, all right?